Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
Today we're going to be covering the Shudder original Scare Me. It is a Shudder original, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I still need to subscribe to Shudder.
Do you still not?
I know.
$4. Oh, goodness, Ian. You buy all these action figures on eBay, but you won't spend the $4.
Listen, don't call me
Ain't that how it goes, though? You know, you see something online you want. It's at a horrible price, like $100, and then you're like, oh, but that $4 shipping and handling. Oh, no. Cannot do that.
That will kill me. For some reason, that will be like, oh, now I can't.
How'd you like this movie, Ian?
I liked it. It was definitely... So I recommended it because a lot of people whose movie opinions I usually align with on Twitter were like talking about it when it came out. And I looked it up and I was like, well, this seems like a movie I would like. And it definitely wasn't at all what I thought it was.
Yeah, it wasn't what I thought it was at all. I thought it was going to be like a true anthology film. I thought as they were telling stories, maybe we would get short films scattered throughout. And instead, what we have here is two people telling stories. And it's basically like we're watching like a couple theater kids, you know, spend the night together. It is really well done, though. I did really enjoy it. And it reminded me so much of me and my husband, because me and my husband do this all the time. Like on a Saturday night or something, we'll just get really wine drunk and we'll just, we call it creative nights, and just do any and everything. We'll, you know, act out stories. We'll you know, sing and dance and just anything like this. And so this was really nice to watch, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like, once they started telling the story, I was like, oh, we're going to see like, almost like, you know, like Family Guy or Simpsons does like a parody of something, but it's like still the characters. They're just like in The Shining, you know?
Yeah, no,
that's what I kind of thought was going to happen here once they started telling stories. It was like, oh, they'll still be themselves, but like they'll be in this, but like, nope, it's just them literally looking at each other telling stories.
I think there are four characters total in this movie.
Yeah.
It is a very small production. It looks great, and it's the editing, like the actors could not have predicted what they were going to do with the editing, I don't think. They probably just read the script, showed up and did it. But the two leads here, I didn't even write down the actor's name. Look at me, I'm fucking up already. They have such great chemistry, though. I thought they were like great together.
Yeah. Aya Cash is like really good, and he's really handsome.
Yeah, he is. He's like, I don't know, they're both like super animated. It is really like watching theater kids. I mean, they're actors, right? So they really got to like really stretch out their acting to be as dramatic as possible in this movie.
I will say, though, from the start, I really liked the bit of, and I feel like you can relate to this, like the cab driver, who is one of the four characters we get, who's only in the beginning and the end, when she's just like telling him the story of her whole fucking script.
Well, yes.
Like, I just feel like, how often does that happen? And it happens all the time to me. And I'm
literally everything in this movie, I feel like is something. It's just not even just writers. It's just creative people are like this. Like every beat in this movie is so accurate. You can tell that creative people wrote it.
Because like he's annoyed at her for telling him his story, but then when he meets Aya Cash, he wants to tell her about his novel, and it's
exactly. So we'll go ahead and get into it then, since we're already at the beginning. So immediately we get the intro. It's a Scare Me. It looks a lot like Insidious, I thought. And then we get Fred, our main character. Fred is riding in the backseat of this taxi/Uber. I wasn't really sure what it was. And the driver's name is Bettina. And she's, so Fred is like a struggling writer and actor. And he's going out to the cabin in the woods to like try to break his writer's block and get some stuff done and kind of pull himself together. And Bettina on the way there, it's just, she's basically, like we said, she's every writer ever. Well, I have a really good idea for a story, but I'm not going to tell you. Cut to 2 seconds later, she's telling him every part of her story.
There's a droid army that she mentions at one point that I loved.
Just like two completely different periods of history, and she's like blending them together.
And for when we get to the end, I will say that in my notes, I literally, after she tells that story, I put like, I hope this movie ends with this fucking taxi driver having a huge fancy blockbuster film.
Like Happiest Season where the left out sister gets her big blockbuster at the end.
Yeah.
It was this opening scene though. It was really good with foreshadowing because there's a couple different foreshadowings that happen in here. So Fred gets
it's a good way. I don't know. I feel like it kind of hints that we're going to return to this taxi driver, right?
Well,
like
definitely.
you kind of think.
And not even just that, not even just returning to her. Like when she says beforehand, like, I don't want to tell you my story because I don't want anybody to steal it. And then she tells it to him. He does steal it later.
Right.
He does kind of like briefly, tell it to Fanny. So Fred gets to the cabin.
Everyone eats
thieves.
shit.
Fred gets to the cabin and sits in front of his laptop, and all that's written on his laptop is, werewolves have guns. Get revenge now. If I open up my notes app on my phone, that is all that's in here. It's a bunch of like one-line ideas.
Literally, I put, God, this is me writing. Because, yeah, I think I have like, ready or not, make it gay. Like, those are notes I have in my phone.
Yeah. And so the cabin setting, I love the cabin setting because it really does set the tone for the movie, and it really does like kind of subvert your expectations because you think something's going to happen with this cabin, maybe killer outside or something like that. None of that happens. But it's a great horror setup. Fred goes on a run to kind of clear his mind, and he runs into Fanny Addy. He notices that she has hurt her ankle, and he tries to offer her help. I didn't think he was that bad. I didn't think it was problematic at all. He was just offering her help and introduces himself, but she's not about it. Fanny is a no shit kind of woman. And she's like, he says, I'm Fred. And she says, I didn't ask your name.
She's the type of character that Ian loves immediately.
Just a slow clap there, just, okay, this is the type of woman we're dealing with, and I'm all about it. I'm here for it. So she's also staying at one of the rental cabins nearby. So they walk back together, and as they're walking, they have a little conversation. And she is Fanny Addy, a best-selling horror novelist. She wrote a book, Venus, and it's supposed to be this big juggernaut of a book within the horror community, I guess. And so he says that, he's a fan of hers, but we find out later he hadn't even read the book. Do you think he hadn't actually read the book, or do you think he was just like giving her shit?
No, I assumed it was something like me working at Barnes & Noble, how like I could tell if I saw a famous author, I could name 10 of their fucking books, and I haven't read any of them.
Yeah, we get immediately basically that like Fanny is really she's just such a direct character, and I really like that how direct she is. And I feel like she is the type of writer that everybody wants to be, and
successful.
everybody's Fred, really. Like, I think both characters are actually every writer, just all in one. On the outside you see all your writer friends, and you're like, they have it so together, and they have this, book deal, and they're so confident and stuff like that. But then on the inside are feeling like Fred, where Fanny is probably feeling like Fred a little bit on the inside too,
Right. Well, I mean, it's like the hierarchy of like the taxi driver is annoying Fred's annoying Fanny, and like I feel like there's always that, right? Where it's like Franny can maybe feel like self-conscious around other writers. She's not feeling self-conscious around Fred because she thinks he's dope. Yeah. And it's like that kind of thing.
Well, I don't even think I think she thinks he's the dope, but I think she gives him her time of day because I think she does have a little bit of confidence in him, and then like as the movie goes on, like she kind of loses it, and she's like, you turned out to be who I thought you were in the beginning, I guess. That night, the power goes out, and Fanny shows up at Fred's cabin, and they decide that they're going to wait out the outage together. They start drinking. Fanny has her idea notebook with her, and I love this part. That she has her notebook with her, and he like goes for it, or he's like asking her about it, and she's immediately like defensive and protective about it, and she's like, "It's none of your business." And she like kind of snaps at him, and then apologizes. It's like, that was a little bit aggressive. But then Fred offers up Bettina's idea and passes it off as his own. But I love that she like has her notebook full of all these great ideas that she's
because she says he might steal it, and then she's like, especially with desperate white dudes like you.
Oh yeah, she's always picking on the white dude in this. It is hilarious.
I love
it. Fanny suggests that to wait out the storm, they tell each other stories to scare each other. Starting with Fred and his werewolf story, because he's kind of been going on about the story that he's working on. Every writer asks another writer, "What are you working on right now?" And he's working on this werewolf story.
And so she says, "I love being scared." And then she kind of just like that's where she's like, now scare me. And she wants him to tell her the werewolf story.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of shit, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I respond well to a strong woman, and I would respond well to a confident woman writer being like, "No, that's bad. Redo that. Nope, that's bad too. Redo that." Like, that's like, God, let me go on a retreat with this woman, and I will have a book written by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, but like she is direct, and I have to say, like, I do relate to Fred a lot in this. I do, because I know how much criticism hurts, even if it's not meant to be malicious or anything like that. She's criticizing him, and every creative person, not everybody's great with criticism. And I know that it would maybe hurt my feelings a little bit, her constantly kind of giving not even little jabs, but, little suggestions. But they're not even really suggestions because she's so direct with it.
I respond well to directness.
Goodness. I don't know. I do. Yeah, I would never tell somebody that they hurt my feelings.
I know.
But it would definitely hurt my feelings, I think. But I don't know. Like, I really like how they tell their stories here, because this first werewolf story is all about a boy who saw his family get killed by a werewolf and grows up and takes revenge. And it's a very, like, generic revenge werewolf story.
She helps him make it better. She really does.
Exactly. It's a very generic story. She kind of acknowledges that. She's like, really? That's your story? I really enjoy how the filmmakers kind of play around with these stories, though, because like we said, I kind of thought it was going to be an anthology film, short films, bunch of short films. But as they're acting it out, we get the actors elevating the performance, and then we get these little moments of, like, we'll see a werewolf shadow, or we'll hear the sounds of a werewolf, or like cop lights kind of briefly, in the shot and stuff like that. And it makes this whole, like, acting exercise just that much more great. I love this. I love how they presented this.
Well, and I mean, I think this is, like, the best one. I think, like, not because his story, but, like, I don't know. I felt like this caught me by surprise, because this isn't at all what I expected the movie to be. Like, yeah. I didn't, and he does a really good job of, like, he's being the werewolf, he's being the mom, but they do a good job of also making it funny, because, right, when he's, like, impersonating the mom, he says she's also a Long Island Jewish sort of thing, is like how he describes the mom. And then when he's like, the mom's like loading the gun, she asks, is it a silver bullet? Mom feels like she really knows what she's doing here. Like, yeah, that shit, like, is weird to say, but it, like, makes this, like, two-person scene very interesting. It is, even though it's like actors acting, telling a story.
And it's so good, because she keeps, like, picking at him, saying, hey, details. And then he, like, it does make the story better, because, if he just told it without any input from her, it'd have been very cut and dry, no real details and stuff like that. His acting is great. It would have been great, but right. She does know what she's talking about. And she even, like, there's a moment right before this where he's like, not verbatim, but you think you can school me on story because, you're a published author? And she's like, yes, actually, I can. She does. It's interesting that you think this one was the best one, right? I skimmed over this one.
The thing that made me laugh the hardest was when she's like asking him for, like, why, right?
Yeah.
And so he names the werewolf Benjamin Franklin. And she says, no, I love that the werewolf shares the name with a politician who invented electricity. And she means it. And then she, like, asks what the, like, motivation is. And he says, it's from personal experience. And she replies, from getting attacked by a werewolf.
She does not let up. She does not let up the entire movie.
That shit for me is so good. Like, that's, and her, it's like, me quoting it doesn't do it justice. Just her delivery is just so deadpan. And, like, she doesn't really care. She's just being honest, right? Like, she's not actually trying to, like, upset him. She's just
no, not at all. So, like, towards the end of my notes, and I guess I'll bring it up here. I feel like she wouldn't be here doing this with him if she wasn't trying to, like, push him to his best potential. I really feel like she thinks maybe he has potential, and she's, like, really trying to make him, like, kind of tap into that greatness that she thinks maybe he has. Because she doesn't really know him, but she's like, if you have greatness, like, here, tap into it. And he's just holding himself back. I don't know. I thought it was. I feel like all of this stuff, none of this stuff comes from a bad place. All of her, like, criticisms and directness and all that, it definitely came from a place of, like, hey, like, realize your greatness, do it, like, do something. She even says that later. So she tells a story about a girl who tries to kill her pervert grandpa. and she accidentally kills the dog instead, but the grandfather does die a little bit later. And after that, she's haunted by the grandfather and the dog. This story is absolutely fucking creepy to me, and I think this is like by far the best one in the film.
It is creepy. It is for sure.
I want Shudder to make this. Like, Shudder needs to get on it. This would be a great film. It would be insanely creepy. Her acting style is so much more subdued than his. She's much more subtle with her acting, but just as great, you know, and it's incredibly eerie. Her acting as the grandfather. I think her acting as the grandfather just like gave me shivers, even the second time that I watched it.
I will say I didn't like the first one the most because I thought it was the scariest. I just liked her banter with him. Like for me, that was just like enjoyable.
Yeah, and he doesn't really. So like throughout, like whenever because obviously she's better than him. She's better at doing this than him.
Her story's better, yeah.
Yes, and so he does try to like throw in little things to I don't know, do the same thing that she was doing during his story, and she immediately shuts him down. And she
says, "Don't
interrupt me."
Yeah,
I think she said it like twice. And I think with somebody like that is like you have to like. This is the difference between them. Is like he doesn't have the confidence. Whether he has the talent or not, he doesn't even have the confidence. And if he's gonna, be great, he has to match that energy from her, right? They have to, like, she's challenging him and she's wanting him to match her. But he doesn't do it, and he never does it.
And I did like, wait, is it her? No. Oh, right. We watched, full disclosure, we watched this movie like almost, actually, no, more than a month ago.
Say? It was January what?
January 20th, and it's now February 25th that we're recording this.
I got to watch it today, though.
So wait, she tells her grandpa's story.
Yeah.
And then do we go to the troll story? But they tell that one together, right?
Yeah, so they take a break, they order pizza, and we find out that Fred he gives a little bit of his backstory. So he is just down and out on himself. We find out that he's just trying to make his life work out, just like we all are, you know. His wife left him, he had a mental breakdown. We get this look, it's like kind of creepy part where he's like, and I did tell her I was gonna kill her, but we told each other we were gonna kill each other, and Fanny's like, you're not making me feel any more comfortable with this.
But like, to be fair, like you or I probably should say that, you're like, oh yeah, I told Zach I'd kill him, but this feels like a little more sinister, right?
And he kind of I didn't even think it was all that sinister. I don't think so. I didn't take him as a sinister character at all, and if they were trying to paint that, I didn't get that.
Well, the end we get to,
I didn't think he was being sinister. We'll get to it.
Right.
And why I didn't think he was sinister, but like, he's kind of just down and out on himself, and she basically says, well, and he's like, and I can't write anything and stuff like that, and she's like, well, Jen, do something. Why don't you do something? She's just not there to like playgate his feeling sorry for himself. She's like, let's get back inside and do something then. And so while they wait on pizza, Fanny and Freddie collaborate on a story about a troll who lives in the walls of an edible arrangements store. So good. The troll convinces the secretary to kill her boss, and it's just the fact that they're in a fucking edible arrangements. Like, perfect. Great.
you know what? Wait, this one might have been my favorite. This one might have been.
Do you think?
Yeah.
It wasn't my. So the stories.
Because it's so silly.
In order for me, I think the stories were her story, his troll story. I do like the troll story second, the werewolf story, and then the talent show at the very end. What order would you put yours in?
I think the troll, werewolf, grandpa, musical.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad we both have musical at the very end. Yeah, no, it's just like such a weird one too, and I love that they're collaborating. I think their collaboration makes it so much better too.
Yes.
He kind of gets down and acts as the troll, and he's like contorting his face, and
he gets really into it.
It really is, and she's so great with these like transatlantic, like kind of blonde bimbo voices that she does, and it's perfect. And
well, I love that he says something like "mind your baskets," and then he like stops, and she's like, "No, I like that as a saying, mind your baskets."
No, so she says she comes in as the boss, and she's like, "Everybody, you don't fuck with the troll don't fuck with you." And then she's like, "Wait, but no, they wouldn't say fuck. They would say,
oh right,
mind your baskets, and the troll will mind his. It's just so great. Yeah, no, I love it.
But then she says she likes that saying, the one that she
Yeah,
said.
she
Right?
does.
Okay,
So
I was thinking
throughout
he
this
said it.
entire thing, as she comes up with these little ideas, or as she hears little ideas, we see her go to her notebook and she starts writing stuff down. So keep that in mind.
And then the troll's name is Devin, which I
Devin
love
the
that she
troll,
says.
it's a very modern name for a troll.
But she likes it, and she does.
It's like weird to her. So she's like, we can see on her face when she's into it, and then when he and his performance and storytelling kind of brings her out of it, but she kind of like holds herself back from, shitting on his idea, and she kind of just goes with it, and she's really good at doing that off the cuff and
Yeah.
going with Devin the troll. It's a great story they collaborated on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so ridiculous, but I love it.
Yeah, they don't finish the story before the pizza guy Carlo shows up and scares them both. He like walks in through
Because they almost kiss.
Yes, did they? I don't. Oh shit! I even watched it today, and I don't remember that.
God, because I have in my notes, I yelled, I want them to kiss, and you yelled, no kiss.
Okay, yeah, no, I wouldn't have liked them to kiss. I like the dynamic they already have, the kind of butting heads a little bit. I think kissing would have been forcing it.
But that's the kind of dynamic I want to kiss. That's the only dynamic I want to
Ian,
kiss.
you are horny in quarantine. Okay, go write a fanfic about it.
With or without, I can be getting laid.
I hope everybody hears them getting flustered over that too.
Listen, motherfucker, I can be getting laid every day, and I would still like a dynamic that's people butting heads. Yeah. That's why I liked Buffy and Spike better than Buffy and Angel. I like it's like, ooh, they're butting heads, but like they're gonna fuck. Like that's the only kind of like dynamic. Other romance, I'm like boring.
I don't even want no romance in here. But the pizza guy Carlo is played by a Saturday Night Live actor, Chris Redd. I love this guy. Love this.
He's
guy.
really good.
Loved him on Saturday Night Live. It's great. And he's a big fan of Freddie. Not Freddie. Fanny.
Fanny.
Yeah. Did you notice the Fanny and Freddie thing that they tried to do here? It reminded me of the Sarah Palin thing. I got to get Fanny and Freddie back to work or whatever. You never saw that? Her
I don't know
interview
what
with
you're
Katie
talking
Couric. So Carlo's gonna leave, and before he leaves, he does his own little like acting thing without knowing that they were gonna do theirs. And so Fanny's like immediately intrigued, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you stay here and like tell scary stories with us? You look like you're a guy who knows scary stories." He like stops dead in his tracks, turns around, and joins them.
Because wait, she offers him pizza, and he says, "You'd think I get tired of it, but it's the best pizza in town." And he like,
gosh, I feel it. I worked at a Papa John's, and I never got tired of fucking pizza. I can tell you that.
Papa John's.
Papa John's, yeah. I was 14 years old. So
that's like the worst.
Yeah,
pizza.
my body could handle anything at that point.
Yeah, I feel like my body would shut down if I
used
ate
to bring
it.
a medium pizza home with me just about every day.
I used to order the cheese bread sticks.
Oh, did you? I used to get those too. Those were, thinking back on it, that's some cardboard. It's just cardboard with a little bit of cheese on it.
Just melted cheese on like bread. That's all it is.
It's not good. But Fanny and Carlo do cocaine.
Because Fanny asks, "Do you want Coke?" And Carlos slowly raises his hand.
I wish you could see us too. It's
so good.
So good. Yeah, cocaine's fun.
Because also I feel like if like someone said that to us, like someone offered us drugs, you'd like look at me and I'd be the one like, "Yes, please."
Yes. Fred does not participate in this. He does not want to do any coke. But
because he says that he gets like bad.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
Yeah. Right.
He's just that type of person.
Yeah.
So but Fred throughout the movie also is trying to get these little digs at Fanny, whereas Fanny's trying to make Fred kind of realize his own greatness. Fred is always trying to get digs at Fanny, and he keeps being like, "Well, why don't you reenact your book, your big famous book? Why don't you reenact it?" And finally, Carlo is here, and Carlo loves Venus, and so he's like, "Why don't you do that?" Trying to embarrass her a little bit. But they take him up on it, and they do it. They Carlo and Fanny reenact Venus. I love that they didn't spend too much time on this either. They kind of just like breezed through it.
I was about to ask you. I'm like, I watched this movie a month ago. I have 2 lines of notes on.
It was like a quick montage of it, so it's not even a whole bullet point here. So we're just gonna move on from it.
Great. Okay.
They do that, and then the 3 of them put on a story about a singer competing in a talent television competition. the singer,
But like with Satan, right?
the singer made a deal with the devil in order to get on the competition show. And as she's on stage, I fucking loved this. So it's not my favorite story. I never like anything with like a talent competition, but when she starts singing, and she's singing this really sweet song about music and love, and then it turns into like the devil possesses her and starts singing, "Let's shut him up and cut him up, kill all the children." It's just great. The transition is seamless.
I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, ooh, I stopped taking notes towards the end here.
Ian said, "Bored now."
Well, they definitely. So the musical number, I zoned out. And what's weird is, so I'm not a musical theater gay. Nothing wrong with it if you are, but I'm just like not. But normally,
Ian's too masked for that.
Normally, I love a musical or dance number in something that's not a musical or a dance thing. But like this, I was like, all right, what the fuck?
I think that because I was the same way. I only paid attention to I only liked it the second time because I paid attention to the lyrics. But the first time I was very much checked out of the music.
I think you and I both like said something to each
It's
other. It's
because I think like while the stories they're telling are set up really great and like the acting is great and the stories are even kind of they're really good. It's still like the fourth story they get onto, and by that point I think it starts to drag just a little bit. I think maybe capping it at 3 stories would have been better. But I mean, we have this, so it's already here.
Right.
So Carlo, after this story, leaves, goes back to work. He's got to deliver some more pizzas.
He asked her to sign it. He asked her to sign the pizza box to his best
I wish
friend.
he would have just had a book. I would have been so disappointed getting a pizza box signed.
But I like that he's like, I think, so I wrote it down in my notes. What he says is like, say that we're best friends and we did coke together. And then she's like, that's exactly how I signed it.
He's like, but I'm not a writer. And she's like, but that's exactly how I signed. She loves Carlo too. When he says he's leaving, she's like, no, Carlo. Because they've bonded. And you know what was funny about Carlo is that he comes in, he's not trying to be a writer. He has no aspirations to be a writer or anything like that. But even he is more confident and thus more talented than Fred.
Well, and then Fred is getting a little jealous of it. We see him getting jealous.
Jealouser and jealouser by the minute. So whenever Carlo leaves, Fanny takes a bucket out to the woods and she's going to use the restroom. And while she's out there, Fred goes through her idea notebook and sees.
I like that you politely say she's going to use the restroom when she even says
takes a shit, defecate.
She says like
say the words.
Well, she says a coke def, like defish or something like that. I forget what but like she says it's because of coke because. Not that I would know, but it does make you poop sometimes. And I like that, like, she explicitly says that because, I don't know, she's, like, not trying to impress this dude. She doesn't care. She's like, I'm going to take a dump in this bucket.
She's not romantically interested in this guy.
No.
She goes out, use the restroom. He goes through her idea notebook and sees that she's been writing about him and their stories. Like, every story they write down or they come up with together or, separately, like, and I guess all the stories, in a way, are collaborative. So she's been writing them all down, which, as a writer, you take your inspiration from life. And if you're sitting there doing that, he, as another writer, should have had his own notebook out doing the same damn thing, right?
I mean...
There's no harm in her writing those stories down.
Right. That's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't know that he needed to be writing them down, but there's no harm in her...
Exactly. If he chose not to do that, then he just missed the opportunity.
Right. There's nothing to be mad at because, it's not like she would have given it. She wouldn't have given one shit if he was writing. She would have been like, all right, whatever. I don't care. Like,
yeah. But Fred is butthurt.
Right.
She comes back and he's like, okay. She's like, basically by this point, she's like wine drunk. We see her like down a whole bottle of wine. So you down a whole bottle of wine, you're ready for bed. And she's like, okay, I'm going to bed. But he's like, one more story. And he starts to tell the story of the night that they've been on. Basically revealing to her that he read the notebook and that he's pretty pissed about the things that she said about him and that she thinks, he doesn't have any talent and stuff like that. They get into a heated back and forth about talent. And here's my problem with Fred, okay?
Hit me.
He's just one of those guys that I want to like him so much. I love the actor. There's nothing on the actor. It's just the character. He's one of those guys that just gets down on himself too much. Like he laments, like, that he's pretty much been bullied by life. He feels like everything's unfair and like, but instead of doing anything about it, like she says earlier, well, do something. Instead of doing anything about his life and trying to improve his life and quit bitching about it, like that's all he does is he complains and he moans and groans and
God, am I Fred?
I think that's what I'm saying. I think we're all like that, though. Is we all
Like, yes, Ian, that's what I'm saying.
Ian, get over yourself. But I feel like we're all the Freds who can be the Fanny, but we see other people being a Fanny on the outside, and it's hard. But there's the difference between the people who won't do anything about their situation and who will. And Fanny is one of those people who's just, one of those go-getters, and she's going to do something even if she feels like Fred sometimes. But Fred just holds himself back, and it's disappointing. Fred basically tells her, hey, I have this fire poker I'm going to chase you with. Run. And she gets freaked out. Because I think there's this moment where I couldn't even tell whether because it's called Scare Me. Their goal at the beginning of the night was to scare each other. And I can't tell, and I do think that he is trying to scare her, but I couldn't.
But you don't think he was trying to kill her?
Just 100%. I can't. I don't know if he was going to try to kill her or not. What did you think?
Yes, I did think he was trying to kill her. I think they were drunk and high. Okay. He felt attacked. He felt emasculated. He felt like, oh, she had a better bond with the pizza dude than me, even though I'm the one she's here with. And then he's found those notes. So I think to him it was like, because a thing we glossed over, he also mentions his wife got a restraining order against him.
Yes.
So I do think there was like a dark side to, like, I think he was, not only was he like just like your regular average like dude who's down on himself, but he's like also probably low-key a shitty dude. Yeah. So I think that like he had just like had it. It was like his snapping moment, and I think he was like out. I don't know if he like, it was kind of like he was just so angry at her because of the notes. Because I felt like he felt like her existing was a personal attack, right? Yeah. And like we said, she didn't really give a shit either way. She genuinely gave him critiques that helped make his story better. But like, right, if he was like, all right, we're done, and she went home, she would have been fine.
Yeah. I think, and this is why I kind of like can't really tell this, like, the film doesn't feel like, a psycho killer film. It feels like a film that's trying to say something else through the lens of kind of, these people, this guy and this girl, telling each other scary stories. And so that's why I'm like, well, maybe, it's not that cut and dry that he's just trying to kill her. So I don't know. I think both are possible, I guess.
Either way, I did not love the turn it took. I didn't love it.
But then I was thinking, because I feel you on that, I do. But then I was thinking, what would I have done? I'm big rewriter.
Give me a Zachary rewrite.
I don't have one. What is Ian's rewrite? Let's flip the script here.
All right, so
Scare me.
Do we want me
to do it? Do it.
If we needed to, so I feel like they probably just wanted to have like there needed to be a climax, right? Because we weren't telling stories. There's no climax, because sure, there could be a climax within a story, but that doesn't count. If we needed to go for a scary climax, have the taxi driver have mentioned, oh, someone escaped fucking asylum years ago. Sure. And then there's like a random person in their house that chases them and they have to like kill this dude. But I don't know. I don't know that would even work. But
I think, you know what? I'm going to bounce off of yours. We're collaborating on a story. Ian. Art imitate.
I love a Ian and Zachary collab.
So they both take this killer down. They make it through the last bit of the night. It's already like 5 a.m. at this point, right? So they make it through the last bit of the night. And then, and I think this would bounce off of the overall like message of the movie anyway, is she's been taking notes throughout the night. She's doing her writer duties, and he hasn't really been doing that. Well, who would write the book on their night first? And it would be her, because he wouldn't take the initiative in doing it. And maybe it ends with her having written this book about the night, and he's just pissed again,
All right.
It's kind of just where it would end up, because that's the natural place it would end up.
All right.
This was weird. He chases her around with the fire poker. She hides under the bed. She comes out, and he's like upstairs with her and chases her. She runs down the stairs, and he trips and impales himself with the fire poker. And he's just like laying there. He's still alive, but he knows he's dying. He's like,
he asks her to kill him.
Finish me off. And she like considers it. She's like pretty traumatized here. She raises like a log, and she's going to bash him, but then she just drops it and leaves. She leaves her idea notebook. She leaves the log. She leaves him. She just goes, and we don't see her again. And I'm guessing he just dies,
Right.
from his injuries. And then the next day, Bettina comes to pick him up and finds Franny's notebook. The movie ends, and then we get this mid-credit scene. What's the mid-credit scene?
Because you had turned it off, and I always like keep it going, and like there's a little bit of credits, and then we go to the taxi driver's face on the cover of like a best-selling novel, and it's about like she stole the idea.
Yeah.
So like we start the movie with her saying he can't steal her idea, he steals her idea, and then she steals someone else's idea, and she wins, which I love.
And Bettina wins at the end. She wins.
Does.
I mean,
That's the kind of shit
even
I
if
love.
Franny like read the book and tried to sue her for it, she doesn't have the notebook. She doesn't have any proof that night even happened because he's dead. Nobody could corroborate the story. I guess.
Otherwise, she would go to jail for leaving a guy dead.
It's just. Bettina wins. Is the takeaway.
And that's the kind of shit that I love. That's the kind of end. Like I didn't love the like chase scene, but I loved her stealing the book and getting the bestseller novel.
Yeah, for sure. And that is Scare Me. I really enjoyed it. And even watching it the second time, I think it's a great movie to. I think I would even watch it a third time. I'd probably like if I was working on anything or doing something else, I would have it on in the background. I don't know. What's your favorite part of this movie?
I think it might be that cut scene at the end. Because other than that, I wouldn't have a specific. I liked all of her interruptions.
Okay.
I liked all of, whenever she'd be like, nope, tell me more. Nope, what is this? Like, give me a detail. I liked all of her shitty remarks and her critiques. Yeah. But, like, that wouldn't be a specific scene. That'd be, I love that. But if we're going for a scene, then my scene is that cut scene. What's your favorite scene, Zachary?
Oh, her whole grandpa story. I think that was the best one. Loved it. Right. Loved her acting in it. Loved the story. Shudder, please make that a movie. How are we gonna end this one? Come up with a story for me. Not a whole story. We don't have the time for it, but just a quick little something. The setup for a story or something. I don't know.
2 days we're recording a podcast. They were not in the same area. They were states away from each other. I would probably make them one on one coast, one on the other coast, because what's the Midwest, Zach? I don't know. And I would have like a zombie outbreak happen while they're recording. And like they don't realize till after they're done recording. But like most people are dead, but they were like in their rooms recording. So they like survived.
Yeah. I dig it. Okay, so I'll take the beginning of yours. 2 guys are recording, 2 faggots. They finish recording, they hang up. One faggot goes to his window. He's going to, look out real quick. He hears a noise, kind of like a rattling or something like that. He looks out and he sees this old person in a long dress or something. Old lady, we'll say, like a long dress. Pushing like a basket from like Target or something. Something creepy, like a Walmart basket. And the old lady pushing the Walmart basket down the street in the middle of the night notices the faggot looking at her. And so she changes direction from walking down the street to walking up to his front door. Dun, dun, dun. And that's that.
All right. That's acceptable.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We had a great time watching this movie. If you have Shudder, unlike Ian, go check it out. Go watch it. Shudder's like $4 on Amazon Prime, where you can get the service itself. Where can they find My Bloody Judy, Ian?
You can find My Bloody Judy in the Slayerfest 98 podcast feed, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at SlayerFestX98. Zachary, where can they find My Bloody Judy on YouTube?
YouTube.com/AZB bonus features. We put new episodes out twice a month, so stay tuned for our next one. We're going to be doing High Tension. Alrighty. Are we doing High Tension?
Are we?
We'll see. To be continued. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.